Welcome to Love, Money, and the Law, where you'll find conversations about everything relationships, marriage, and divorce. I'm your host, Cindy Hyde, and my goal is to bring you new insights and points of view through legal, psychological, financial, and spiritual perspectives. Be sure to check out lovemoneylaw.com for live seminars, free videos, and products related to many of the topics we'll discuss. I'm glad you're here. The subject is prenuptial agreements, how to approach some likely questions, and a few solutions for some of the most common issues around sex and money. Welcome to Love, Money, and the Law, where we support understanding in relationships and family law. I'm Cindy Hyde, and I'm here to save you from the trauma of divorce and prepare for a happy marriage. After years of practice as a family law attorney in Houston, Texas, I believe these contracts lay a positive foundation for a lifelong, committed partnership. Some might say, aren't we just preparing for divorce before our marriage even gets started? No, I believe it's really the opposite. I encourage you to listen, keep an open mind, and consider that a marriage contract is an act of love. I also want to emphasize that nothing here is legal advice. The purpose of this information is to bring awareness to issues that are a part of these contracts. If you decide this is something you want to do, then you and your partner will each need to contact an attorney in your state to see how your personal circumstances apply. I've handled countless divorces for first, second, third, and even fourth marriages, and I can say that the two reasons most couples fall apart is incompatibility around sex, or money, or both. However, you can avoid a lot of pain by having the right discussions about how you'll manage your financial accounts and lifestyle, and then have your lawyer draft documents specific to your needs. This is a must. The more clarity you have at the beginning of your relationship about your life together, the better off you'll be over time. Working through a marriage contract will do just that. Let's start with finances. A gentle way to approach this is to simply ask, do you think there are any financial issues that we haven't discussed yet? Surely they will think of a few. To help you out, I'm going to give you 4 questions on each conversation topic that you'll want to cover. Over time, you and your future partner should be comfortable talking about and agreeing on all or most of these issues. Here are my 4 must-ask questions. What's your ideal residence, urban or suburban? What's your idea of a family budget? What's your ideal work-life lifestyle? What are your expectations for financial accounts, income, spending, and savings? Let's go over each one in detail, starting with ideal residence. What's your ideal residence, urban or suburban? If you haven't talked about where you're going to live or how the ownership of your property will be handled, this is the opportunity to open the subject when you discuss urban or suburban living. This is very important because one of you may dream about a big house in the quiet suburbs and the other may want to move downtown in a high-rise where there's more action. Expectations and stress about lifestyle can slowly erode the good feelings between you, and that affects your intimacy, which eventually affects your marriage. If you start with the issues that surround your home, then the rest will follow. You'll need to discuss monthly payment, the names on the deed to the home, ownership of a second home or other property purchased during the marriage, and what happens in the event of death or divorce. This topic opens issues about money coming in and going out, which leads to how to handle the recurring monthly expenses and practical issues about how to budget for the family. What's your idea of a family budget? You can pivot there with a question like, do you believe in having a family budget? You'll learn if you match up or not on saving and spending. Who pays for what will have to be decided, along with joint and/or separate bank accounts. Plus, you'll see if your ideas match up about how you'll pay for the groceries, car insurance, vacations, and other discretionary items. Even vacations, don't leave it to chance about vacation discussions like cost, where and when to go. As you figure all that out, work life is going to come into the picture. What's your ideal work-life lifestyle? Discuss your dream jobs and how many hours you want to spend working apart to make money. Start sharing your ideas for dream retirement. If you have a disparity in income, decide how you resolve these issues if you keep your separate income to contribute toward the purchase of a home, everyday living expenses, or retirement. What if one of you is a stay-at-home parent and produces no income whatsoever? What will be in place so he or she maintains a checking account or builds a retirement nest in case of divorce? Much of the success of your relationship will depend on the lifestyle you envision together. It's been my experience that not very many couples actually talk to each other about these things. Why? Because the next natural subject is disclosure of your financial accounts, including any debt that either of you might have. What are your expectations for financial accounts, income, spending, and savings? Find ways to discuss how important making money is to both of you. Do you line up on financial goals? Discuss how you'll pay down debt brought to the marriage, and if your spouse is going to contribute, does it have to be repaid in the event of divorce? To that spouse, are you ready to take on the responsibility for repayment of this obligation? If not, your prenup needs to address it. This issue can come up rather quickly if one of you has outstanding obligations to the IRS. Ask the question so there are no surprises, and check with your CPA about how the IRS treats outstanding tax obligations when the one who owes back taxes gets married. There's one more issue related to money that's a little controversial, but I believe it's important. I suggest that you consider doing a background check and ask for a credit report from your future spouse. In order to do this, you'll need to get his or her permission, and so of course your partner's lawyer will want these same things from you too. Blame this request on your zealous, overprotective lawyer. Sometimes that's what you pay us for, to take the heat. Why do I suggest this? For two reasons. If either one of you balks at the idea, it's a big red flag. Why wouldn't you want to be fully transparent? It's also a good way to really find out about how personal credit has been managed. Past behavior is a good indication of future performance. So if you can get through all of this so far, you may feel like it took the help of God to do it. So, speaking of God, have you discussed your spiritual beliefs? Are they compatible? Is it important to you that the same beliefs are worshiped together? Will you become more religious after the birth of your first child? This subject may not seem like a big deal in the beginning of your relationship, but it may be the only thing that holds you together if you have problems in the future. Almost every state in the country is a no-fault state. That means if one of you wants to end the marriage, it's over. Only your beliefs inside the religion that you practice and the God of your understanding may help you hold it together. So, on a sexier note, let's talk a little bit about sex. This is the other major area that is often the cause of divorce. If the two of you are not on the same page at the beginning of your marriage, meaning your libidos are not compatible, then it's my opinion that it's not going to get any better with time. Talk about how often you want to have sex and make love. It's that simple. I also believe you need to have that little mysterious spark or chemistry that makes your someone the one. The secret is, however, that your sex life is really a reflection of what's going on emotionally inside and is then expressed through your intimacy. It's common for conflict to happen in marriage. Conflict can cause hurt feelings. Hurt feelings affects your desire for each other. So one of the big benefits of a prenup is that you get to sort through many issues in advance that might cause conflict later on. You could even say that a prenup can enhance your sex life. How nice is that? The other big sexual issue concerns fidelity. Is monogamy an absolute rule in your marriage? If it is, some couples like to include a fidelity clause in their contract, which typically results in a penalty of some sort in the event one of you is not sexually faithful. The problem with this is, however, is proving it, if not admitted. I have mixed feelings about these clauses because it goes to the ethical character of the parties, and that's more difficult to quantify contractually than you may think. For many, monogamy is not a big deal, and extramarital affairs are even anticipated. Get very clear about your sexual boundaries. Transparency about who you are and what you like before you walk down the aisle is not only the right thing to do, it's the only thing to do. One of the worst things to discover, especially if you've had children together, is that your husband or wife has not been honest about their sexual preferences, proclivities, or their identity. Be yourself and share it truthfully. Finally, before you're intimate, make sure to disclose whether or not you have a sexually transmitted disease. Even if you have a premarital contract, this is potentially a lawsuit waiting to happen with significant financial damages if you don't disclose in advance so that your partner assumes the risk of whether or not to be intimate. Talk to your doctor and, if necessary, a family law attorney in your state about how to handle this very delicate but potentially litigious situation before you're intimate. Document your conversations about disclosure to your fiancé with your doctor before you have sex. I hope you found this information helpful. Go to lovemoneylaw.com and check out our resources, including a webinar about prenuptial agreements and links to videos and podcasts about marriage and divorce. I'm Cindy Hyde. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Love, Money, and the Law. Be sure to subscribe to receive a note about the next topic. When you subscribe, it helps support this effort to bring you independent insights into topics that matter in your family and beyond.